Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. In today's video I'm going to be doing a review to episode 9 of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here UK 2025. So, at the beginning of the episode, Vogue explained that she felt a lot better sleeping down with everybody else rather than in the cabins up the top. Ruby explained that they both deserve to be up there, probably because they've brought in so many stars so far, but probably because also they're the two younger ones as well, you know, just give them that luxury, whatever. Eddie also said, what can I do, when they're the two that bring in the food for everyone. Obviously, they've got either 10 stars or 12 stars or whatever. They're bringing in quite a lot of stars collaboratively between the both of them. Ruby explained or asked whether she should be scared of H and Ginge as the new camp leaders, feeling like the others took it seriously, but they didn't take it that seriously, which is why she said she wasn't scared of Tom and Vogue. Jack said it's kind of gone around his head so many times about the whole Ginge lying about having 10 stars and ended up and only saying he had 5, questioning whether or not he can actually now trust him going forwards. I know it's only a small lie, but a lie is still a lie. And Ginge basically explained he said just to have fun and to make people laugh. H explained that him as a leader isn't going to change from the H he was before. He's still the same person. He's just going to bring new energy. And he just said if there's someone that's going to bring it, he's going to bring it. And in terms of the trial, Tom basically explained that it sounded like some sort of bedtime story, but obviously knowing the jungle life and the jungle trials, it's not going to be something relaxing and fun. Ginge explained that great leaders don't need a second man or woman in charge. So I think at this point Lisa was like, oh, if you need any help, you know, I'm here. And he was like, nah, don't need any help, it's fine. And H explained that in terms of the trial, it's his time for redemption. And he said to both Alex and Shona, look after that camp for me. So they both kind of saluted him before he went to the trial. And he went to speak to Ant and Dec, and they were like, well, do you know why, you've been chosen for this trial? And he basically was like, no, not really. But it's almost like they can tell that I need a bit of a rest, because obviously the trial was from a bed. So, yeah. And, yeah, Ant and Dec basically explained that for this trial, he was going to be facing 3 different nightmares, and through every nightmare, he could win stars. And obviously he could stop a nightmare at any time by asking to move on to the next one. And I think at first there was these, for the first nightmare, I think it was like loads of snakes, and you had these 2 masked guys in like a clown uniform coming in, and yeah, they were like, they were in a uniform, and they were basically like putting snakes onto the bed, and he was like, oh, you 2 are ugly, aren't you? And Ant and Dec were like, what, us? And he's like, no, you 2 are gorgeous. I meant the 2 guys that are, putting snakes in me. So, yeah, he basically had 4 stars to retrieve by pulling the ropes down with all the snakes. I think one of them got close to his face, and, I think they were obviously quite scary, but it was more, I guess, they probably were scared of him, like, why is there this man in our bed kind of thing. But he ended up getting 4 out of 4 stars for that one, so that was good. For the second dream or nightmare that he had to catch stars with a star catcher. And obviously he was surrounded by mealworms and cockroaches, and you had a couple of these like weird characters dressed up, and they were obviously probably for Halloween, like some sort of scary trial. One was dressed up as a lion, I think one was dressed up as a ghost. And yeah, he basically was trying not to knock the stars off, otherwise he wasn't able to win those. Again, he managed to get 3 out of the 4 of those. I think he dropped the first one, but then he kind of got the hang of it, how to hook the star on his little hook. And then in the third and final one, he had to untie stars from a massive spider. The spider didn't move, but then there was lots of spiders put on him. So he had spiders crawling over his head, over his face, over his legs, whatever. And he basically explained that, I think Ant and Dec were like, oh, your next tattoo should be a spider. And he's like, well, I've already got a tattoo of a spider. He said, Peter Parker, they call me. Just need a Mary Jane to join me in this bed. But in total, he managed to get 11 out of 12 stars, which was 1 up from Ginge the previous night. So I think he said as camp leader, he couldn't let his deputy get more than him, which obviously in this challenge he didn't. And yeah, he said that he's obviously been given a role and he's played it very, very well. Back at camp, Lisa, Ruby and Vogue were all on face shaving duty, with Lisa questioning whether they've hit rock bottom, the fact that they're all having to now shave their face, and that she said if she was to get all the way to the final of the show, she'd end up looking like Hagrid from Harry Potter. Tom was talking to H, and Tom basically explained that H and Ginge seem to be hoovering up all the stars like Olympians, and 11 stars in camp is a very important thing. Jack also said, no acting, keep it real, and he basically came in and said, yeah, I got 11 out of the 12 stars, because, yeah, I think half the gingers acting the previous day, they just want to know straight up, did you do well or did you not? Because, you know, you can't keep lying the whole way through. You just generally want to be giving people good news, because some people don't take it very well, obviously. And then, yeah, Tom explained or looked at how different the sky was since they'd last looked, I guess. Obviously, it started raining. Kelly said there was a thunder in the distance, obviously coming their way. And Ginger explained it had been a bit of a bad day for him, and the family photo brought back a lot of memories for him, and he felt like it was the wrong decision to bring the family photo in, because obviously it's going to make him feel a certain way. So I think both him and H had their little emotional moments, but it's nice to see guys getting emotional, because I think that's the thing. A lot of men feel like they're not allowed to show that they're upset or that they're sad or that they're in pain or whatever, and that they have to be brave through everything. But that's not men 24/7, so some men do feel like they have to be a bit more emotional. But yeah, like I said, it's just nice to see that. And then, yeah, Kelly explained that today is the day that she is going to have a honeymoon slide. No, let's do that again. Kelly explained that today would be the best day to have the honeymoon suite, because obviously they wouldn't get rained on. Ruby was asking people to sing, and Alex put in a request of Ain't No Sunshine, because obviously it's raining, and Shona decided to do a little sing for that song. Up next was Kev's Deals on Wheels, which Lisa and Ruby, that's their joint duet name, they decided to go off and do, and it was called Off Track Bush Tractor Repairs. That's just a bit of a tongue twister within itself. But anyway, so yeah, basically what they had to do, they decided one of them was going to go under the tractor, one of them was going to go searching for tools, one of them had to describe the tool that they were looking for, and then the other one would obviously find the tool around that little area. So Ruby said because she was smaller, she would go under the tractor and she would describe the shape to Lisa. Lisa would then have to go and find that tool, give it back to Ruby, and then she would put that under the tractor to see if they could win all 5 of those little mini challenges. Lisa explained that they needed a lot of communication between the two of them in order for Ruby to have her meet and greet with Kev. And many a time throughout the trial, Ruby just kept saying, hurry up, Lisa, running out of time. You know, come on, Lisa, you're too slow. And in the end, they managed to do it. And there was crisps up for grabs. And yeah, they basically, the campmates had to decide which of these businesses was not run by Lisa's character Mandy in Emmerdale, whether she didn't have a company called Handy Mandy, Mandy's Munchbox, or Pamp Amanda. Now, Lisa basically said that she did have a pamping salon, so obviously the Pamper Amanda was true, and there was some sort of food stall, so Mandy's Munchbox was also true. There was no sort of Handy Mandy business, so quite ironic. They've just done a handyman job, but she never actually had that company in Emmerdale. Unfortunately, they got the question wrong, but Kev managed to wink at Ruby on the way out, so they lost the crisps, but she got a little bit of a crush looking at her. Ruby said for a minute she forgot about her husband, Ed, and explained that he'd probably just let her go because she's absolute hell to live with, apparently. And Lisa asked Tom whether people were intrusive on his love life, because obviously he was on Celebrity Go Dating, and he just said, you know, sometimes it's difficult trying to look for guys and things like that. And Jack just went, wait, Tom, you're gay? And he put on his really masculine, straight acting, deep man voice, and it was actually really good. It was so on point. And then I think Lisa asked Tom about the whole homosexuals playing homosexual roles, or straight people playing the roles that should probably be for those that are, like, you know, part of communities. And he said, you know, at the moment I feel like those that are homosexual should be able to play those roles, but I guess now, you know, having previously had to go into interviews and act as that character before you go into the interview, whereas now you can kind of just be yourself, and if people want you for the job, they'll just take you for the job no matter who you are or how you identify. Kelly said it's actually more about representation, so she said she wouldn't be too picky about whether she would do a certain role or not because she had to act a certain way, but I think it's more of, if you've got a gay character, it would be more relevant and relatable for a gay person to play that character. And yeah, we're going to do a part 2 of this episode because I didn't realise how much I waffle. So episode 9, part 2 coming soon.